Mbithe, I think let's start with the banking sector. KCB has been under some selling pressure as of late. Just looking yesterday, it fell by 6 shillings 30 to 17 shillings 90 for the past 3 months, down 26%. Why, out of all the banking stocks, is this one suffering perhaps the most?
Thank you for inviting me for the show. I think what is happening to KCB is not unique only to KCB. It's actually happening across board for all the stocks. I think the news that came out yesterday about the liquidation of assets relating to the Divani Triton case, which was relating to a 2 billion write-off by KCB, could probably add a bit of positive news to this company. Though the amount that of the assets that was going to be liquidated was about 1.5 billion. I think the market is looking at this and saying that the full 1.5 billion will not definitely accrue to KCB, but maybe part of this will accrue to KCB. But I think going forward, just in general for the banks, we of course expect a bit of tightening in terms of net margins, given the increase on the CBR rate by the Central Bank of Kenya. So the second half of this year is going to be a very tough year. We're going to see a bit of slowed credit growth coupled with net interest margins coming off. So the second year performance may not be as robust as the first year performance. And I think the banks are looking more positively at the banks with an exposure to the retail segment as opposed to the corporate segment such as KCB.
Let's look at KCB's operations outside of Kenya. When you just look at its Rwandan unit, it's looking to increase lending to the housing sector using a $5 million loan that it's got from the International Finance Corporation. How has the company performed as a whole in the Rwandan banking space? And of course, there seems to be quite a lot of appetite for getting exposure to this emerging market economy.
I think for KCB, it expects all its subsidiaries outside of Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda and Tanzania to actually return a positive return this year. Rwanda and Uganda have actually been focusing on mortgages. I think there's a bit of an appetite for mortgages in at least in Uganda. And the fact that they received a bit of money in the last couple of weeks is definitely helping them to match their asset and liabilities into the longer term. The bank will definitely be looking to report a positive return from its subsidiaries. And I think for Rwanda, what makes it an interesting case in terms of an investment opportunity is the fact that its inflation rate, its currency depreciation has lagged way much behind compared to the rest of the East African countries. It's containing inflation, its year-on-year GDP growth continues to outpace the other countries, so it's becoming a very interesting investment opportunity, not only for Kenyan companies, but also for foreign direct investments.
You talk about foreign direct investment, and we've seen that with the recent listing of Bank of Kigali, Japan's SBI Holdings and Abu Dhabi's Invest AD Africa Emerging Fund was one of the foreign participants to invest in the Bank of Kigali. What type of appetite did we see coming through from foreigners for this recent IPO?
I think this IPO has had a bit of a mixed performance. When it opened, it went up to prices of as high as 190 Rwandese francs. Yesterday it closed at about 140, and it was essentially on offers. There were very, very minimal bids for this counter. I think what happened is the structure of this IPO was more of a book build for the foreign investors. So essentially most of the foreign investors who wanted to get a piece of this counter actually got to get a piece of it. I think what's been happening is there's been a bit of retail pressure and selling out, mostly with the retailers looking to make anything between 20 to 40%. I think we expect it when it comes lower than 140, we'll probably see a bit of demand, especially when it comes closer to the IPO price of 125.
Let's look at the overall Rwandan stock exchange, because to date we've only got 4 listed companies, 2 of those being Kenyan and 2 of those being Rwandan. Government has said it's planning on privatizing some companies, public companies of course, and looking to list them on the stock exchange. Do you know what progress is being made with regards to this?
What we know is MTN could probably be the next one. We don't know how far the government has gone with that. But I think to date, the performance of Bralira has actually been very exceptional. And also, there's been a lot of investor appetite for that stock. So that sets stage for upcoming Rwandan companies, be it telecoms like MTN, which is the #1 telecom there. We'd expect a bit of interest on that once it comes on board.
Let's turn our attention to Tanzania, because we've of course got Precision Air looking to list on that stock exchange. That IPO will be raised started on October the 7th, looking to raise 28 billion shillings. What type of appetite do you see coming through from local investors in the East African region, and then once again from foreigners for this IPO?
I think for this one, we've not yet gotten any response in terms of local investors looking to get in. The pricing, according to the information memorandum, is at an 11% discount, which is not very attractive, at least in my view, but I think more work would need to be done in terms of valuation. For Tanzania, looking at foreign investors outside of East Africa could be very hard. They have very strict controls in terms of foreign currency participation in that market. So that could probably be a daunting task to get extreme foreign appetite for this counter. But I think it will be interesting to see what the company does. I think we all appreciate the fact that fuel prices are definitely going to hamper profitability for most of the airlines. Precision Air not an exception. So I think closer to the date, we'll probably be getting a bit of feedback from the investors and able to comment on the kind of appetite we'll expect to see for this IPO.